Back, Babajide Ogunsanwo, our data and information analyst, joins us next to also shed some light on what he's seen with figures about education. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, it's a huge challenge, clearly. We've identified the fact that funding needs to go in, but you've also been looking into this matter. What strikes you?
What strikes me is 10 million. 10 million. Now, when we hear 10 million, we'll think about naira, pounds or dollars.
But if you had said 13, he would have suggested equally 13.
But this is 10 million, and it's not 10 million naira or pounds. It's not 10 million naira or pounds. It's over 10 million children who should be in school that are out of school. But what is 10 million? And listen carefully to why we should all be bothered about out of school children. And that's because we've got 10 million talents that have been undiscovered. 10 million talents that have been undiscovered. Now, this undiscovered talent could soon turn out to be 10 million criminal talents. And then we and you and I will be at risk of our talents being shut down. And so, all of us do not have equal talent. All of us do not have equal talent. But all of us should be given the equal opportunity to develop our talent. John F. Kennedy. So today, can we talk about education without being more specific, talking about primary school education? No, we can't. Can we talk about primary school education without talking about secondary school education? No, we can't. And we also can't talk about secondary school education without talking about tertiary education. And can we even talk about tertiary education without talking about getting a job? No, we can't. And so, we will, like a good meal, not start from the dessert, we'll start from the top. Let's start with primary school education. A decade ago, how many students were in public primary schools? A decade ago, exactly a decade ago. And I'll share that fact with you, and I think it will surprise you. But before then, the evidence today is that we have approximately 25 million students in public primary schools. 25 million. A decade ago, that number was 21 million. And so, within 10 years, the number of primary school students has grown by 4 million. 4 million within 10 years. The challenge is, within 10 years, our population has grown by 54 million. So we've got 54 million new children. However, number of students that have increased into primary school education, public primary school education, is only 4 million. So we ask ourselves, where are these 50 million children that have been born without schools? So today, when we even talk about we having just 10 million children who are out of school, that isn't the full picture, because we've put a thick layer of sugar on the problem. There are significantly much more than 10 million children who are out of school.
If I could take a look at these 12 states that hold more than half of the total number of public primary schools, what's the key significance here?
And the key significance is two things. The first is, in 2014, Mr. Olisa Agbakoba, SAN, had taken the federal government to court, and he had challenged the premise on how students should get into school. Should it be based on merit, or should it be based on what tribe you're from, or based on your gender? Because he had said in literal terms that there was a war. There was a war between, on his own side, those that wanted a merit-based system and those that wanted a system for fair representation for tribes. A struggle between those that were on his own side that wanted equity because of his faith in progress, and those that also had some genuine concerns on fear of backwardness. So his premise, in a case in which he won, was that students should have equal representation to go into school. It shouldn't be based on your gender. It shouldn't be based on where you're from, based on your political lineage, or based on your tribe or sex. Cut-off marks shouldn't be based on where you come from.
But that doesn't seem to be the case today.
That doesn't seem to be the case today, and that's why I'll explain this. Even though he won that case, the case today is that there are 12 states. 12 states that hold more than half of the total number of public primary schools. Now, where are these states? These states in the northwest. Northwest, we've got Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Jigawa, and Sokoto. In the north central, we've got Niger, Benue, Kogi, and Plateau. In the northeast, we've got Bauchi and Adamawa. And in the south, only Oyo. Now, if you look at this, you can clearly see that the majority of states who hold the mass of schools comes from the north. Kano
having the highest of 5,732.
Exactly. Now the concern and why this is significant is when the last population was done, it had distributed Nigeria into two. When that population 2006 census, then 54% of the population was said to reside in the north. However, based on today's evidence,